Hello guys, I know that you have most likely expected training Tuesday tonight, but for some reasons I didn't have enough time to prepare the material and have not actually decided yet on the topic. So in order to, you know, be with you anyway this time, I decided to play at least. So as usual, would be very helpful if you can give me a hint if everything is okay from a technical point of view. You can hear me, you can see me well, and we will go straight to playing. So let me check what we have here in the sense of challenges. Swahos access stream is fine. All right, thank you very much for that. So as usual, I would like to start with several games against players I've never played before, and I have noticed already there were some guys. So for example, Oliver Schach, we have never played before, so I'll accept this challenge to start with. And what's going on? I'm playing with white pieces. Let's go. For e4 move, I mean for open play, but my opponent decided to play French defense, which may lead to quite closed positions. So let's see. No, d takes c4, a bit more interesting than anything else. Let's just take on f6 and play knight to f3. Okay, so what if I just play bishop g5 now? Queen somewhere, then bishop d3 with the tempo. I can have several extra tempi here. I can obviously start with bishop d3, more or less forcing black to play something like h6. Is it a good idea for me? I think yes, because in many cases, white is castling long and starts an attack on the king side, and something like h6 may be a good hook to open up files. Maybe h6 is not that forced, but my plan was just to play bishop g5 trapping the queen after bishop d3. Alright, black decided to play e5, which looks a bit strange. But maybe it's playable, I don't know. I have no idea. So what if I just take on e5, bishop e5, and then what? Queen e2, knight goes to d7. That is definitely forced. And then what? And something like bishop g5, but I don't really win anything. On the other hand, I can grab a bishop, which is also good. So having a pair of bishops. So let's try it. Just a straightforward thing. Queen e2. Maybe I missed something much better than this, but for now it looks also not so bad. Okay, knight to c6. I'm just wondering, what if I play bishop to b5? I actually expected knight to d7 to have c6 against bishop b5. Now bishop b5 may be very annoying. Why? Because I create a direct threat of just taking on e5, because bishop b5 pins the knight. And if black does some like castling, I can take on c6. And then bishop on e5 will be hanging. There are some tricks though, so like bishop b5 castling, bishop takes c6, bishop takes b2 attacking my rook. I can take on b2, queen takes b2, but then rook is still hanging. So maybe I'm not even winning anything there after bishop b5. That's interesting. Okay, I have no idea. Let's just take. And here I wanted to play bishop f4. Again, using the pin, so queen cannot take the bishop. And now we have an ending where I have pair of bishops and position is quite open. What about just taking a pawn and hiding on d2? So bishop on d3 is a very good defending piece. So for now, I'm feeling quite safe here. Maybe it makes sense for me to even play a3, preventing knight b4. to secure my bishop's position here on d3. Against this move, I wanted just to go away. Let's put it on f4 to have the access to e3 and that g1, a7 diagonal. From g3, it would be much harder to do. And now what? Now just rook to e1, right? Simple centralization. Also preventing something like bishop c4, bishop f5, because in that case I first take on the 8 and then take the bishop. So it doesn't work now for black. What could be my next plan? I don't know. There are different possibilities, including just rook a to d1 and king to c1, something like this. King to f8. All right. What's the point? Maybe still preparing this bishop f5 for bishop c4. I'm not quite sure it is so bad for white. So let's just wait a bit. Want black to clarify the things. So bishop f5, maybe I will just continue with sort of simplification. Rook takes c8, king takes c8, rook e1 check, king back to f8, something like rook e3. If there is an exchange on d3, okay, I will happily exchange all the pieces there because after all, we should understand I'm a pawn up right now. So I should be fine with exchanges. Knight to e5. Okay. I think I should avoid the exchange of that knight from my light squared bishop, because in that case we will deal with the pattern of opposite colored bishops, but I can see a tactical thing now, so we can start with rook e1. The point being, if knight takes here, I have bishop d6 check, and it should be just immediately winning. So king g8, rook e8 checkmate, rook e7, bishop e7, then I take the knight. It's over, basically. So that was a trick, I know, but rook e1 didn't do anything bad to my position, so it was actually the improvement, bringing the rook to a much more active square. If black would have played something like f6, I would have just captured on e5 most likely. All right, so I think black played, very active in the opening and not necessarily great moves, because even if I don't do anything like queen e2 and simply capture an e5, so I'll have pair of bishops in the pretty open position, which is already an advantage for white, and to be completely honest, it's a long-term advantage, so it shouldn't be necessarily something tangible. So bishops will get active at some point, and I will just attack something in opponent's camp, but it will be not so simple to protect. So I guess this e5 was too much. Also, it was interesting for black to try capturing the knight with a pawn. I know it damages the pawn structure, but then black gets very interesting position after developing the bishop to a8 h1 diagonal using this file, which is now open. I mean the g file with the rook after rook g8 or something. So it's pretty unclear situation here. White should be slightly better because of this, damaged, but according to my experience, it's not so simple to prove. Okay, so let's go further. Let's see, what do we have? Is there somebody I've never played before? Okay, Jose Moya, never played before. 24-78, accept. Should be an interesting game. Should be an interesting fight. And I'm playing with black pieces now. All right. By the way, in the previous game, it was not necessary to lose c7 pawn. And to have fewer problems defending it, I think it was better to develop the knight on d7, not on c6. But anyway, even there, after, for example, something like c6 move, weakening d6 square, it would be quite annoying position for black, but playable. So let's focus on this game now. We have Ruy Lopez with d3. So the line I prefer with white pieces. Tricky one. But I don't play c3, I usually play a4. Here most likely we'll have a transposition to main lines at some point. Okay, a4, what we can do? Let's try knight a5. And then c5. Pretty straightforward. But it shouldn't be bad, I guess, for black. So now the question is to play b4 or just to go back to c6. I prefer delay this b4 till the better moment. Maybe I will never play b4. Maybe I will do something like c4 undermining d3 and trying to attack e4. Who knows? All right, now what? It's possible to play h6. And if white doesn't mind, to improve the bishop a bit with the bishop e6 move. Knight to g3. Okay. Now it's very tempting to bring the queen to a2 square, for example, to stop the bishop on c1, to exert some additional pressure on b2 maybe. Good question though is what to do after knight f5. So after knight f5, it's normally a good idea just to take and to play d5 move, but it's hardly ever possible if the bishop is still on e7. Normally in Smith's law, you play something like rook e8, bishop f8, g6, bishop g7, but position is different. Here we may have a better option, something like bishop d8, bishop b6, activating this bishop faster. This also has some drawbacks because our king side becomes kind of abandoned, and this bishop is normally a good defender of h6, for instance, which may become an object of attack. There's many different questions to answer, and I'm not sure what is the best way to play it. Not sure at all. So let's start with rook e8 move, just to see what white is going to do. If knight f5, then I probably just take... Okay, let's forget about it. Knight f5 didn't happen. So here, once again, we usually have an option of taking on d4 several times. Another possibility is to play knight to b4 now. Is it tactically okay? d5, d5, knight e5 may be a problem. Alright, so it's not so simple. It's not so simple. It's never simple, actually. So, that's Ruy Lopez. What should we do? Hard to say. Rook e8 was probably not a good move at all. Let's just take them. So, and now, knight to d7, then knight to c5 or knight to e5, something like this. Probably intending... Well, there is knight at h5. This may be very dangerous. Pretty annoying. So, let's bring the queen closer. Attacking the bishop may be intending to play queen c5, simplifying the things a bit. Because this queen is potentially very annoying. For example, in a line knight d7, knight h5, there is just a threat of a checkmate already. It's defendable. I mean, we can play bishop f8 or knight e5 or something, but maybe it's just better to get rid of that queen immediately. Just right now. Another option is just to play bishop d8, bishop b6. And queen c6 is kind of helping. Just checking if I'm not blundering something stupid. Like bishop h6. No, it doesn't work now. So can I try this? Questionable. d6 will be weakened. Hell, I don't know what to do in this position, to be honest. I'm a bit puzzled. I'm a bit puzzled here. Nope. Okay, let's try this. After all, only 1 minute on the clock, which is bad. Which is very bad. But we have some play here. Maybe that was unnecessary to sacrifice the pawn like this. I'm just trying to get some play because of my bishops, which is probably just enough to equalize, even not completely, but definitely not more than that. Yeah. White is playing very well. I mean, White didn't do anything specific, of course, but also didn't blunder anything. Kept position protected everywhere. So very good game for White. So what's going on? Oops, that was a big blunder, but I have no time. Maybe I will not manage. Oops, another blunder. So White didn't notice that. That's fantastic. What a bad game for both of us. I mean, oops, that is something. Seven seconds only. Okay, we're not losing it, but most likely not winning it either. Yeah, just a draw. Okay. That was pretty cool, but a lot of blunders closer to the end of the game. So White just played e5, giving up a knight. Then I played bishop e1 a bit later, just handing the bishop. It was possible to capture it. So let's have a look at that dramatic moment. I don't know why White actually did all that things. I mean, e5 at some point. Maybe White was just excited and thought it was very close to winning the game, taking into account what was happening on my clock. I was really short of time. By the way, here I think there is an interesting move for d2. What's going on after bishop? Yeah, after bishop d7, just rook to d2. I cannot make this move on the board for some reason. I don't know why. But rook d2 deserved attention. And the thing is, if I go away with the bishop, there is bishop f7 taking the bishop d7 next move. So most likely rook b4 was forced in that case. But this position should be more or less balanced because, you know, I'm a pawn down, I know, but I have pair of bishops and my pieces are pretty active. So I'm sort of compensating the missing material. What else? Yeah, there was just a series of blunders after that. That was very bad. So here after bishop f5, then a few moves later, I moved my bishop to e1. It was possible just to capture it. That's something. All right. Anyway, interesting game. Thank you for this experience. Let's have a look at somebody else I've never played before, and then we'll get back to normal order of challenges. So Carlos 777, we have never played before. I'll accept this challenge. e4. Okay, again, like pieces. Let's try something different. Let's play Philidor. Knight e4, knight f6. Let me win says you make drawn games exciting. Well, most likely it was not my fault, actually. White played e5, dropping the piece. So only with the help of my opponents. My play alone is pretty boring. The g3 d5 is kind of very old line. Pretty interesting if white plays e5, knight g4, and then bishop f4, because you know, black has this g7, g5, white has then e6, so lots of interesting things. Okay, bishop g2 is also a move for sure, and I don't remember how to react correctly, so e5 is still hanging, so I think c6 can be played. I mean, I used to play Philidor, exactly this line many years ago. So once I decided to play Ruy Lopez as black, I never ever checked the theory within this line or other Philidor lines. So I have no idea what is the current state of theory here. But it looks nice. So bishop goes away, I just take on e5. That's the point. Winning the pawn. And after e6, as far as I remember, the best move is just to play h5, protecting the knight. But it normally works when the pawn is still on c7. With the pawn on c6, it may be different because white has additional option of just taking on b8. On the other hand, I don't think it really improves white's position, so I don't see anything tactical there. And yeah, let's see. So bishop is back to c1. Now we should exert some pressure on that knight d4. Let me think. So queen b6, bishop f6, or maybe bishop f6 right now, and then queen b6, forcing the knight away from the center. Maybe we should keep the bishop on this position. Maybe bishop c5 may be much more interesting at some point. Maybe just bishop c5 now, pinning that knight, because if it goes away, we have f2. After bishop c5, we have kind of threat like knight f2 or queen f6. Could it be something? I don't know. So after bishop c5, there is definitely a threat of queen f6. So let's try it. Castling. Okay. So what about queen f6, bishop e3 then? Yeah, most likely. Because if knight goes to f3, I think we have knight f2, rook f2, bishop f2, king f2, g4. This may be annoying for white. So bishop e3 is something that should be played. Now there is the threat of knight e6, potentially. Bishop e6, bishop c5, grabbing my great bishop. I wanted to continue the sort of attack with the h4 here. Would be nice to do something like that. But it doesn't quite work right now. Maybe we should just grab the bishop, f takes e3, and queen e5, attacking that pawn. This will obviously give white that f7 pawn. It will be very hard for me to take it after that. But who knows, maybe it's not so bad for me. Well, at least I'm sort of tempted to try it. I know it's super risky. But long term, I think we get much more. So we have pair of bishops already. This pawn on e3 is quite weak. And this pawn on f7 is anyway not so well protected. So at some point, we may attack it. And we can still think of the attack after h4. After f2 went to e3, well, g3 became not so well protected. Queen f3. Okay, let's develop our bishop with the tempo. I think we can do that. And queen f6 looks very strange. I mean, queen e3 check now. King goes away, queen takes d4, winning a piece, protecting the rook. Queen d8 check then. King goes to g7 and it feels like, okay, there is queen g5. All right, what if we take on e3, then take on d4 with the bishop? There's queen d6 check, of course. Then we can play queen e7. In that case, everything is protected. But here's the thing. If we take on e3 and then take on d4 with the bishop, there is queen d8 check, king g7, queen takes h8, king h8, and f8 queen. All right, this looks very, very bad for black. Unfortunately, but is that really it? We cannot take on e3 and then on d4? This would be just bad. I don't like it. Would be happy to take. So queen e3, king h1, queen d4. I'm calculating the lines slowly today. So queen d8, king goes to g7. f8 is covered by the bishop. Queen takes g5 then. King goes to h7. Is it something playable for black? This may be. So let's try it. I mean, who cares? If I lose the game, it will be anyway a very exciting game. If it's a good line for me, then will be pretty good win. Because we're a minor piece up already. So queen d8 looks like the only sensible move for white. King g7, queen g5, king h7. And I somehow don't see a great follow-up for white. So f8 is covered. Should be fine. If f8 now, then we just take, I guess. Yeah, that is what I wanted to play. Does it work? For d1, we have queen g7. Our next step would be something like knight d7, maybe. Completing the development or trying to do that. But first and foremost, of course, we have to deal with that queen on g5. It's very, very annoying. Position looks insane. But who knows, maybe it works. Rook f6, wow, that's quite a move. It's very strong, actually. Very strong, and I don't see anything better than just taking it, to be honest. And knight d7 So we have only rook and minor piece for queen. And position sucks. All right. But we're going to fight here anyway. So bishop f8 was suggested, but there was queen g6 checkmate from another square as well. So it didn't work, I guess. Okay, but we have quite coordinated pieces. Rook f2 was coming. Maybe rook f2 immediately was much stronger. I don't know. Let's bring it there. Oh, probably it was not good. But I had no choice. All right. Oops. Yeah, this is fatal. This is oh, it's very lucky. I mean, queen g4 was just checkmating, I believe. Just queen g4 and checkmate very soon. Oh my god, that was such a game, you know. Such a great one. So yeah, I had a feeling somewhere deep inside that it was not right to play queen e3, queen d4, but I just didn't see rook f6. And that was just an amazing move. I mean, rook f6 is very strong. Creating a threat of rook h6, queen h6, queen g6, literally everything is threatening here. And really, looks like queen f6 is just the only move. Oh god. So instead of doing that, after queen f6, I should have played what? Either knight d7 immediately, exchanging queens, and I think black should be alright after that. So just knight d7, queen e5, knight e5. Okay, I'm a pawn down right now, but I'm going to regain it quickly after some like king e7, rook f8, and then pawn will be captured. And another option was to take on f6 first, and after rook f6 to play this knight d7. That was another move I considered, which probably the same stuff. I mean, should be okay here. I think knight e7 is a bit better immediately because my bishop is not limited with on knight on d7. Yeah, but queen e3 was definitely incorrect. So after that, yeah, it's hard to do anything now because if I take with the bishop, there is this queen d8, which I told you guys was winning because of this simple tactics, let's say. Just queen h8, king h8, f8, queen, goodbye. So quick checkmate. What else? Rook is hanging now, queen d8 is threatening. So there is no choice. I mean, I have to take. And then everything is forced. So check. Here, queen g5. All right, maybe the only good move for me was just to go back to f8 and allow white this perpetual if he wants. Yeah, most likely in this particular case, it was already the best option for black. It's also not so clear. Maybe even here white has something surprising. Thanks for this experience. That was amazing. That was very interesting. All right, normal order of challenges, galactic is the next. And white pieces. Oh, such a relief. Such a relief. Bishop b4. Excuse me. That's interesting. So queen a5, then back to c7, and then b6. Interesting stuff for sure. Let's also go away to d3. There is nothing to do there on b5, in fact. So the only purpose behind that move is to provoke a6, kind of additional weakening out the queen side to use a bit later. In general, this bishop belongs to d3 square. I think after this b6, it's harder for black to castle long. I mean, it's still possible, but the position is definitely much more vulnerable there than before b6. Castling short is still possible, but then, as you may notice, we have both bishops directed to the king side exactly. So there may be an attack based on something simple like knight somewhere, queen g4, and so forth. Okay, does black have some direct threats here? cd4, cd4, let's say. So what? Don't see anything, so probably we should focus on our play on the king side. So knight h4, intending to bring the queen to g4, attacking g7. Another idea being just to play f4, f5 at some point. We may probably just combine two. Queen g4 first, attacking g7, then depending on what black is doing, actually. Because if rook g8, there is bishop h7, I guess. Which is quite annoying. Well, this should be. Alright, let's go there. Queen g4. Protecting d4. At the same time, attacking g7. And now we can take even on h6 if we want. But it feels like bishop h7 is a bit better than that. If I'm not blundering something terrible, then this move should give me a pawn. Or an exchange, which is equally good. I don't even know what is better, actually, to win the exchange or that pawn on g7, because that pawn on g7 feels like, you know, the most important pawn in black's camp. If I get there, everything starts dropping one by one. Rook f8. Alright, so black decided not to sacrifice an exchange. And I must say, black may regret. Because now I have a bunch of amazing threats, including just bishop h6, attacking the rook. Knight g6 is another one. Same idea to attack the rook. If f g6, bishop g6, then rook drops, simply. So it's kind of, yeah. Pawn pusher is here. Great that you joined. Everything is more or less fine. Thank you for asking. Queen d8. Just to play knight g6 now. If f g6, then bishop g6, a checkmate on f7. And after knight g6, there is no chance to protect the rook. I think knight g6 is just a game over for black. e7 is covered by the knight. I mean, there is no queen e7 even. This should be pretty much it. I didn't see a good defense. The king is imprisoned here. Lots of pieces around the king, but they're not coordinated the right way. And it's not even possible to run away. There is simply no time. Yeah. Black resigned, which is quite understandable here. I guess knight c6 was just too much. So knight c6 just moves the piece away and simplifies my attack. Well, maybe knight c6 is not a decisive mistake. After queen g4, obviously rook g8 was a decisive mistake. And the right move should be king f8, protecting the pawn. And immediately white cannot actually win the game, for sure. So white should prepare the attack. It's probably annoying to make such a move, but, well, it was probably the only chance. And before that, I think, you know, b6 was not necessary. Instead of b6, it was okay to start with h6 and then just castle on. That's, you know, something typical here. Yeah, just h6 and then castling long, or maybe castling short, but definitely doing something to be able to protect g7 whenever it's time to protect it. b6 kind of stopped black from castling long. Then it was very dangerous to castle short either. So king remained on the e8 and black's pieces were simply poorly coordinated. So Galactic says, isn't b6 theory? Well, it may be theory, but I'm just telling you what I find the most testing, I think. Okay, anyway, question of taste, obviously. Let's go further. Super Bohemio, accept. d4, knight f6. Alright, I forgot. That is Super Bohemio, so there is this stuff with knight c3. Okay. Let's get back to our typical stuff. And bishop c4 is kind of improvement, or what's going on? Oh, maybe I just have taken on e4 with the knight. I've never ever played that before. I always captured on e4 with a pawn, right? So it's just a different position. Well, okay. What to do here then? Is there a threat, first of all? Queen h5, just g6, okay, we're still fighting. But if I play c5, let's say, then queen h5, maybe a 9. So there is no defender on f6 anymore, so maybe it makes sense for me just to play knight d7, knight f6 right now, to bring that defender to the right place. Kind of, you know, strange, but there are no knights around my king for now. So there is probably nothing wrong with that. And if g6, what's happening? Just queen d5, right? All right. So I lost the pawn. Okay. But it's probably not a lost position. Which is also not so bad a result. I mean, okay, now I think my main problem is that bishop on c8. Wow, I'm playing a position I'm really not familiar with at all. Have to be very careful now. What if we stop white from playing bishop g5? And sort of, you know, intending to play g5. Is there a good place for queen after g5? Or white is literally forced to take on g5 now? No, probably queen g3 is still okay. Knight e4, queen goes to g4. Queen is not trapped yet. What's interesting, I can force a perpetual, or sort of, after queen g3, like knight h5, queen g4, then back to f6, and white's queen has no better square than to go back to g3, just if I want. But what I really wanted to do is to fight a bit. So what should we do to fight here? And is it something that position requires? Or is just a good result for black to repeat moves? Would be not very exciting, I think. Let's try this move. Provoking an exchange. on d6. So the point is, if queen d6, cd6, then we improve our situation in the center. We deprive the knight of this central e5 square, which I find very good for black. So probably instead of taking on d6, knight e5 was interesting, sacrificing the pawn on d4, but probably getting some sort of initiative anyway. Okay, now I think just bishop d7. Continuing with the development, I'm gonna play rook c8 next, or something. Or maybe it's better just to castle here. I don't know. Just castling and then starting the minority attack. b5, a5, b4. Yeah, looks good. Why not? First here. Maybe it's also interesting to try bishop to c6 and then bishop to d5, but that was okay against bishop b3 or bishop a2, I suppose. Now it makes a little sense. What to do instead? We can play kind of b6. No, bishop a6 then. We can play rook a to b8, preparing b5. Maybe rook c7 will be needed at some point. Yeah, let's try something like this. So let's say rook to c7. I'm gonna play b5. Next move. Opening some files to my rooks. It will be also an opening of files for opponent's rooks, so it will be double-edged. Maybe I shouldn't hurry up with this b5. Let's see what we can do instead. I'm not so sure. First of all, let's try to ask the knight about the future. If that doesn't go away from f3, I may consider even taking it, damaging the pawn structure. If it goes away, then probably another step may be bishop d5 followed by bishop to c4, or it's too long, too slow. Don't know. Basically, I could have played b5 immediately, not even playing bishop c6, but I thought it would be helpful to force the knight away from the center. It's kind of disappearing move. This bishop c6. It's quite interesting for white just to play a5, actually, ignoring my b5. Not ignoring my b5, but keeping position closed. I mean, of course, to ignore that, you should do nothing there after b5. But a5 looked interesting, actually. Now it's unclear. Let's go active. White allowed this knight e4 move, so why not? To try something like this. I mean, a good jump, isn't it? Then probably d5, knight d6, knight c4. Exerting additional pressure on that pawn b2. Looks not so bad. Knight is protected now. Alright, now we have a bishop against the knight. Is it good or bad? I don't know, actually. So now b2 is hanging. White is quite passive. But is it enough for something? Or it's just, you know, my dreams of having the advantage here. Maybe I'm not even better here. I don't know. Okay. A7 is protected, and at some point we will be ready to play a bit more aggressive here in the center. Which is probably a bit premature. I don't know. There was no better moment anyway, I guess. Okay, it's tricky. It's actually tricky. So it's always tricky when there is a knight, right? And where the knight is going, isn't it trapped now? Well, it is, I guess. Unless it goes there. Can I take it? It's a good question. Takes. Well, I don't know. Let's just check if our intuition works. I'm not quite sure, but looks fine, right? Okay, won the game. Won the game, and it was again very, very exciting. I don't think I had anything, especially after I lost that pawn on e4 actually. So just, you know, attacking two. Probably here queen h4 was not necessary. So something simple like queen e2 may have given white very good version of, you know, sort of French defense with d takes c4. Pretty simple play like bishop g5, c3. Not sure if c3 is necessary, but castling long quickly, then putting the knight on e5 and just an attack here. I don't like this position from black's perspective at all. Only queen h4 actually gave me some kind of chances, you know, to exert some pressure, or at least to pretend I have something here based on this g5. Probably white has something very accurate here just to avoid all the complications and to get the advantageous position. But I have a feeling this queen d6 was not so cool. So after queen d6, I believe black is already okay. Well, at least it doesn't feel like white has that advantage based on this great e5 square. And to put it the other way, I think that white's advantage was exactly based on the pawn structure. So that e5 square was very good outpost for the knight. My bishop was very passive, at least it looked very passive. Now since I control e5, there is no knight e5 anymore. I have open c-file. I have this plan of minority attack whenever the pawn is on c3, just like it happened in the game. So I mean, black is not better here for sure, but no longer worse, I believe. Sort of little improvement could be to play h4 at some point. And after g4, let's say, to go away with the knight and then bring the bishop to f4. More active position than it happened to be during the game, okay? All right, interesting game. Thank you for that. Shelling Fort is the next. Okay, let's try it. It will be hard. So French defense again. And b4. Okay, let's just take there. And bring the knight to d4 position. But after knight takes c5, I think it's important to cover e4. Yeah, for sure. Bishop goes to b7. Yeah, I'm sort of misplaying it for sure. Playing very strange things. But can we just play bishop e2 now and castle short? Just for example. Yeah, I think it should be playable. Let's just do it. Okay, what about this move? What's going on? So what if I play c3? B takes a2, b4, knight b4, c b4, queen b4, check, and then something like knight to d2. Is it necessarily that bad? It shouldn't be that bad, so let's play this. Most likely bishop d2 instead of c3 was the right move to play. That's okay. Let's check this line. Pretty interesting as well. All right, so the thing is, if I play bishop d2, there is queen b1, which is very bad for white. So I think I have to play this move, knight to d2. To control b1 square. And then quickly castle, of course, if I have time. There may be no time for me. This d4 is very strong. Okay, so I have to take on d2, I suppose. On d4, sorry. There's no other move for me. Oh, knight to b3. It's even stronger than rook d8 that I expected. Well, cool. Yeah, it's just beating. Have to take here. Now I have very bad position. Okay. It's a pretty strange opening. I played and most likely punished for it. All right. What can I do? So, what to do here in this position? Is there any chance to keep fighting? It's hard indeed. Yeah. Such a bad position. I don't even see a move. There should be no move. Alright, I guess that was a bad thing I did. This queen f2 move was definitely wrong. I know that dc5 is not a move there, for sure. So, but anyway, this position shouldn't be bad for white, 100%. So here, for example, knight d4 is absolutely acceptable way of playing it. It's basically what you're doing this for. I mean, taking on c5 to occupy d4 square. So just do it, come on. I don't know why didn't I play that. So I decided to play queen f2. That was a mistake already. And after queen a5, most likely bishop e2 is already a mistake. A serious mistake, I mean. b3, all right. I thought after bishop d2 there will be something like this. Knight b4, and it looked a bit bad to me. Well, actually, this should be still playable. Something like knight d4 again. Yeah, and we're still in the game, because the knight is pinned. This should be all right. So yeah, most likely bishop d2. There was also another possibility to play queen a4. I mean, if we take on b3, there is knight takes b3. But this may be tricky. So let's say takes, bishop to d1. What about this? Spinning the knight. And, well, I don't know. I guess to a5. Still speculating on that pin. I haven't bishop c5 prepared. But, well, we may castle here, most likely. And then after bishop c5, let's say just queen c5, knight c5. Oh, sorry, bishop takes a4. Knight a4 and bishop a5 is possible. So I have no idea. Of course, this deserves serious analysis. It's really hard to figure it out in the blitz game. But I think after b3, bishop d2 is okay. All right. So c3 was most likely a wrong idea. So I didn't see this d4 follow-up, actually. Didn't pay attention to it. Takes. Most likely here, there is already no defense. Because if bishop d2, then just queen b1. It's lost. And knight e2. Then just d4, yeah. So c3 followed by b4 was wrong. Instead of playing b4, it's hard to find a good move because, well, actually there was one. It was possible to play knight e2, simply covering b3 square. And b4 is a threat. Maybe that was the right move. But then again, there is d4 at any moment because I no longer control d4 sufficiently. So I don't like this position. So yeah, I guess bishop d2 was the last chance. All right, Surin. Next one, accept. Yeah, bishop d2. What's interesting, I had a feeling that bishop d2 should be correct, but I played what I've played. So what's going on? Can I just take this pawn on e4? It's an interesting question. Well, I have no idea. Let's check it. Never ever seen this h3 against rook e8, so maybe there is a reason for it. Queen to h5. All right, we can play knight f6 back with the tempo. g6 is also looking interesting, but g6 weakens a lot. Yeah, most likely we should just start with the d5 here. And then knight f6 only when the knight is attacked somehow. Bishop g5. What's going on? Knight takes g5. So my opponent is too active in this game. Too aggressive, actually. And then back to e4. Just extra minor piece, no compensation. By the way, taking with the queen on g5 was also possible. It's very strange. It's very, very strange thing. Yeah. Just a strange game, so nothing to comment too many blunders. Okay, next one is on M. Accept. Just a random stuff. I mean, I know it's bad, but so it was important, I think, to control b5 just to prevent knight to b5. Now we can try something like e5, I think. And then develop our knight on c6. Yeah, it looks not so bad, actually. So we are improving our position gradually. Yeah, there is a problem with the b6 square and dark squares in general, like d6 one. But for now, I think we're doing fine. So we have some targets like e4 pawn. Potentially we may consider taking on c3, damaging the pawn structure. We will see. We can do something interesting. We can play bishop g4, intending to capture the knight here and the knight there, and playing with two knights against two bishops. Let's try. Just to damage the pawn structure on the king side and on the queen side. Well, it's risky anyway. It would be nice to try. After all, it's just a development move. Okay, so white is trying to provoke me. Let's do it. Let's try that. And before taking on c3, maybe we can try even playing knight to d4 in this particular case. But then f4 is not so clear. What if we just castle here? Is it bad? It shouldn't be that bad. Now let's just take the knight. I wanted to play exactly this position with, you know, two knights against two bishops, to see what's going on exactly here within this pattern, with this particular pawn structure. I mean, maybe this is too slow. King c7, I mean. But I wanted to cover b6 to prevent bishop b6 move. That is the reason why I was not so happy with this king c7, and why I considered it a bit slow, because now f7 is hanging, which is a bit annoying. And what I underestimated is that rook f8 runs it into bishop c5. That is what I completely missed. And this is very bad, actually. So can we just sacrifice that pawn to play knight d7, bishop f7, rook to f8, then rook takes f3 maybe? Doesn't look good. That's a bad position. What is the lesser evil? Got no idea. Yeah, just misplayed it completely. This king c7 was too slow. Given white absolutely specific target on f7. Really bad played. Very bad game. Lots of blunders. Oh my goodness. Onam is gonna beat me here, I believe. That was surprising, to be honest. So taking on f6 followed by rook d7 was winning, I believe. Just completely winning. Now I'm having some tiny chances to survive. Again, lots of blunders. Bishop b6 responsible. Okay. Now we should be winning, of course. If no other blunder happens, well, just a tragedy. Actually, white could have played much better. Well, several times. Just several times, like castles, takes, king c7. Bishop c4 was very strong. Bishop takes here was very strong. Yeah, literally anything was very good here, including this, bishop h5. I don't know, bishop e6 was also looking quite interesting, but then I could have captured on f3 at least. But then there was bishop g5, which I found annoying, but probably I had knight to f6. But what about this? bishop e6, and if takes, then takes d7, and bishop to b6. I have to go there. Maybe I'm okay, yeah? Yeah, nothing wrong is happening to black. Okay, so this doesn't work. I mean, bishop h5 was okay, in general. So here, rook takes, bishop g5, knight c4, stupid move. Rook here, and just bishop takes f6. I think it's just a game over. I mean, if I take with the rook, you just play rook d7, then you take on g7, h7 is also hanging, close to resignable position. If I take on f6 with the g7 pawn, it's probably even better for white, because now there is an h pawn, which is a passer. And white's pieces are very well coordinated here, I believe, to just push that pawn quickly towards the promotion square. All right, so that was a great chance to win. Okay. Bertus Maximus, accept. White pieces. Yeah, that's probably not my day. Playing not so good. Well, actually, it happens quite often. So, this time I'm especially distracted somehow, cannot focus entirely on the game. 3 minutes. Thank you for information. That's a really important thing. Okay, we have played that already, I believe. Okay, interesting position. So, black has some weaknesses here, obviously. But it's not so clear if I can use them. Well, one of them I can use immediately. What if I just, take here on d6? Now taking on d7 would be too risky, I believe. So let's just simplify the things with this exchange, if black doesn't mind. Okay, let's take queen. Now let's just put our bishop on g5. So extra pawn for now. e7 is heading. So we have good chances, I believe. 2 extra pawns now. But c2 is heading, so we should be kind of careful here. Okay, where to go? I think to g5. Exchange. Just check. I don't really know what was the matter. What was the reason of, playing this check on the 8? Most likely, I just didn't notice that there was a problem with the back rank. And I wanted to play bishop e3, but then noticed that d4 was responsible against it. Also, actually not a big deal, but unnecessary tactical way of playing it. So now, how to convert this advantage? I think we should deal with the 7th rank, more or less. And also put our pawns on correct squares. So mainly light squares to make our bishop a bit more active at least not limited with on pawns. And we should also use some tactical possibilities that our opponent gives us. So now it's over. We have 2 extra pawns in the king and pawn ending. Alright. Well, in general, I don't like this opening for black, this opening line, but okay, it's once again a question of taste. I believe that we can know the position this way right from the start with, you know, numerous light squared weaknesses. Cannot be that pleasant at least. But once again, I think there is a pretty accurate way to get a decent position from here. But it's already quite hard. Alright. Next one. Playing with black pieces again. If my opponent is still in line, of course. So it's getting too long. Time to move is the next one. And white pieces. So waiting for time to move. So black is thinking. All right, that goes to b3 now. Just bishop e2. And then g4. This is not correct line. If black reacts correctly, obviously. Now a4, a3 is the main threat. I'm not sure I want to play a3 here to stop that, as well as a4. On the other hand, a4 is really annoying, so probably I'm forced to do that. That goes to b4. Okay. Let's go on. h4, h5. Pretending we are checkmating black's king. d5. That is what should have played against g4, I believe, immediately, with the knight still on f6. Maybe it's still alright. If we take on d5 with the pawn, there is bishop f5 attacking c2. It's clearer, but what if we take with the knight? So extra pawn for now. And black has to prove he has compensation. Because there may be no compensation. Although it looks there is. So, okay, we have to be careful. Bishop e4 is the main threat. Should we deal with that somehow, specifically? c3, bishop e4, bishop f3, takes. Queen jumps to b6. Not so pleasant. On the other hand, we can leave with that. I think it's much more important to make that bishop g7 not so active for some time. Okay, here I wanted just to put my bishop on e3. Controlling dark squares, preventing queen b6. So several ideas, in fact. What about exchanging that bishop? Should be a natural idea, right? So it's a good defender of the king side, which is weakened by this g6 move. At least it doesn't look bad. If bishop e4, we still have bishop f3. In this particular case, after bishop e4, we may consider even playing f3 with a pawn, because if bishop d5, then bishop g7, something like that. Okay. D takes e6, bishop takes e6, bishop g7, then knight e4. Wow, it's getting a bit risky. On the other hand, I don't think I have anything better than taking that pawn. Now taking here. And so there is a possibility to play knight e4. There's a possibility to play knight c5. Knight c5 looks good, by the way. But this may be not more than just a trick. Still kind of tempted to try it. So rook c5 and queen d4 check. That's the point. And knight c5 is not entirely bad move, because we exert pressure on this bishop e6. We just go away from that vulnerable position. We exert pressure on b7 in advance. And we're just improving our position after all. So why not? Let's go for it. Now we have to be careful, because there is a sort of bishop c4 at very least. But I wanted just to castle now. Can I just castle? It should be possible, because we're attacking the knight on d6. I don't see how black is going to attack my bishop on e2 that easily, I mean. Now we can just take queen, simplifying the things. I guess it's pretty logical. We have extra pawn, now we have a bishop against the knight as well. This should be an advantage. We're going to win this position, I guess. Let's slowly go towards the center. This way. Didn't expect that. Maybe I should have. Yeah, definitely. Now, rook c4. My god. Rook c4 was very strong. Obviously, and even this knight g4 he's okay. Very first glance. Wow, what am I doing, huh? It's pretty stupid. Oh my god. This is just a shame, huh? Yeah, there's something definitely wrong with me. How on earth can white play such stupid moves? Why? Right, I won, but that was just a disaster. Okay, just a disaster. Oh, yeah, it's a great sign to finish the show, but probably I will play one more game. But that's fantastic. How one can gradually lose a position like that? Huh? Tell me. Well, it's always possible, of course, but not with so stupid moves I made. Yeah, so here, obviously, to start with, this rook h6 was not a very good idea. So rook h4 was much stronger, controlling the force rank, and then playing king e3, maybe moving that rook through d4 to d7. So just gradually, not forcing the things, so these weaknesses don't go away. And obviously then, yeah. So here, for example, after f4, rook to c4 is quite interesting. I don't know what to do after this move. I mean, knight g4 appeared also quite playable, but rook c4, if I take, let's say, here, then rook takes here, and I'm losing that pawn, and most likely losing the one on g5. If my bishop goes away somewhere, then f4 drops. It's just probably even worse for white already. If knight goes to g4, I'm forced to take on g6, and most likely that was a mistake, but I didn't actually realize my rook will be so bad there. Or maybe I didn't find this tactics, just f5. Yeah, that is what I missed. I mean, I saw that, but I didn't see that at the end. I have rook f6 check and then takes on f5. Yeah, correct. That was the right move, just f5. I was about to make it, but I've noticed this e5, e takes f5, bishop f5, knight e3, knight f5. Forgot that. Rook f6, rook f5 wins. Okay, interesting game. So let's play one last game. Pawn pusher. And I guess it should be French, if I remember correctly, because we've used to play some French with pawn pusher, and the last time it was many months ago, I believe. So Albing says, no, not one of your better days, missing a lot. We all have those days. Yeah, that's right. I'm missing like a hell ton of, tactics this time. Okay, pawn pusher, are you still here? Are you going to play? All right, it'll be fair to go on. One then duel. Accept. And black pieces. d4, knight f6. So what do we have here? Most likely Catalan, but who knows? Yeah, Catalan. This is most likely not the best way to play it. And for white, I think it was better to play c5 immediately, instead of giving me this possibility. Now I can take on e4, knight e4, knight e4, bishop e4, rook away. I can also take on e4 and then play knight d5, playing against an isolated pawn most likely. I don't actually know what's better here. Or just keep pawn on d5 so that knight d2 remains passive. Knight b6 is also a decent move. Rook c8 is a decent move. So maybe just this, you know. I know the vast majority would just take on e4 and then play knight d5, but in that case, white is having some sort of play based on c5 square, I believe. So that's why I'm trying to prevent it. Of course, I have to pay for it. So my knight is also not so great. But I had in mind to bring it to b5 and then to c3. Well, at least to try something like that. Can I dare? I'm not sure. Let's first play bishop b5. I was worried about knight b5, bishop f1, so I want first to clarify the things with that knight a4, maybe just to create a weakness on a4 by taking there and weakening c4 at the same time, or like here, to create a weakness on c5. So and c5 drops, right? Extra pawn now. So should I go away or just protect this bishop with queen d7? I don't know. Both look interesting, but I usually try to save bishops on the board. So bishop a6, queen b6, then knight d3 at the right moment. Maybe the right moment is just now. Let's see what white does. So what happened? h4 was played. We play knight e3, rook takes c8, for instance. Queen takes c8. Rook is hanging there. Rook goes away, we can take that bishop. Bring the queen to c3. Looks pretty promising, so I'm tempted to try that. Queen c8, everything is protected for now. Here I wanted to take that. And wanted to play queen c3, but now I'm not sure because of rook c2. Then queen d3, bishop d3, and rook gets active. So probably we should start with just bring the rook to active position. I mean, We start with this, attacking e5. Then playing rook to c8. Rook controls the c file. And then, we will see what to do. We may go to c3, we may go to c1. It depends. But that rook should be definitely activated, I believe. Let's just do it. Rook c2, just queen here. Takes on c8, bishop takes back. Okay. Should we activate our bishop right now? Why not? Knight there. Good moment to spend some time on h6, I think. Just to prevent a checkmate on the back rank. And then just, gradual improvement of the position. By the way, we can even take on e3. I don't think it's that needed, though. Where the knight is going to g4 most likely. Which may be annoying. Maybe not so dangerous after all. So let's say queen c7, if knight g4, then h5. Knight f6 takes. Queen e5 should be winning for black. Yeah, so let's just attack the pawn. The pawn drops, apparently. Oh, by the way, after knight f6, g f6, e f6, queen e5 is not needed. There is queen g3. Much better than queen e5. So same idea to control g5 square, but we also grab the pawn. So yeah, it should be winning. Should be winning for black now. 100%. Well, once again, if I don't blunder something again, right, kind of last chance, right? Gf6, ef6, and queen takes g3. Should be just good. Queen g5 doesn't work. I don't know, what's there? Queen c2 potentially. Attacking my bishop. But if queen c2, I can play queen c3. I don't see anything there, so let's just take. If queen c1, then I take on f2. That's definitely winning. And, well, if the things go completely wrong, we can always just take on f2 several times. I mean, starting with the queen and simplifying the position, having some extra material. It would be not so pleasant, of course, to do something like that, but it's always possible. That's what I mean. Here we just take on f2. King f1 and bishop a6. Here it is. Well, okay. There is no stalemate, I believe. All right. That was a strange game. I think after b5, when I played b5, c5 is stronger. So to get some extra space and to limit the activity of my pieces here, instead of taking on b5, this just gives me some extra possibilities, I think. All right. Anyway, thank you for being with me. Sorry for a poor quality this time. So I played definitely not my best chess. But I hope you still could learn something new. And if you did, I'm happy. See you all hopefully this coming Thursday when we are going to have our normal scheduled Banter Blitz session. Wish you all the best. Bye-bye for now.